Tonight, we're diving into the hidden world of critical minerals, the elements powering everything from smartphones to fighter jets. These minerals are the invisible backbone of our modern lives, quietly enabling the technology we depend on every single day. From the moment you wake up and check your phone to the cars we drive, the computers we work on, and the defense systems that keep nations secure, critical minerals are at the heart of it all. These aren't household names like gold or silver, but gallium, germanium, and rare earths, essential to our technology and security. They're the unsung heroes, quietly making possible the screens, batteries, and microchips that drive our digital world. Without them, the devices and machines we take for granted would simply not exist. Without these minerals, our high-tech society would grind to a halt. Factories would stand silent, assembly lines would freeze, and innovation would stall. The ripple effects would touch every corner of our economy, from manufacturing to medicine, transportation to national defense. For decades, China has tightened its grip on these resources, creating a vulnerability that's now a clear and present danger. With control over the vast majority of global supply, China has become the gatekeeper of the world's technological future, and that power is being felt more acutely than ever. Imagine a single switch that could dim the lights on our most advanced industries. That's the power China holds. With a single policy change, entire sectors could be brought to their knees, threatening jobs, security, and the very fabric of modern society. This isn't just about geology or economics, it's about power, rivalry, and the urgent race to secure America's future. The competition for these minerals is shaping global alliances, fueling diplomatic tensions, and forcing nations to rethink their strategies for resilience and independence. Critical minerals are formally designated as essential to the economy and national security, with supply chains at risk of disruption. Governments and industries are scrambling to map out vulnerabilities, identify alternative sources, and build stockpiles to weather future shocks. They're woven into our defense systems and drive the green energy transition and digital revolution. From electric vehicles to renewable energy grids, from advanced weaponry to cloud computing, critical minerals are the thread connecting innovation, security, and sustainability. Today, August 9, 2025, a quiet crisis has erupted into a full-blown supply chain emergency. What was once a distant concern is now headline news, as companies scramble to secure shipments and governments issue urgent warnings. China is restricting exports, and the consequences are rippling across the United States. Production lines are stalling, costs are soaring, and the race is on to find new sources before the damage becomes irreversible. This is a story about more than rocks and metals. It's about America's urgent challenge to reclaim control over the materials that will define the 21st century. The choices we make now will shape our future, determining whether we remain at the forefront of innovation or fall behind in a world increasingly defined by competition for resources. Trade tensions with China have shifted to a new battleground: critical minerals, the essential building blocks for everything from smartphones to fighter jets. As the world becomes more technologically advanced, these minerals have become the lifeblood of modern economies, and control over their supply is now a powerful lever in global politics. In April 2025, China abruptly suspended exports of these vital materials, halting shipments overnight and imposing a maze of intrusive licensing requirements. The move sent shockwaves through international markets, leaving companies and governments scrambling for answers. Now, foreign companies must reveal sensitive end-use details and proprietary information just to apply for access, putting American firms in an impossible position, caught between compliance and risking their own trade secrets. Defense-related requests face indefinite delays or outright blocks, threatening the production of advanced weaponry and critical infrastructure. Access to these minerals is no longer guaranteed. It's a privilege Beijing can grant or deny at will, turning supply chains into instruments of statecraft. This is a calculated move in the ongoing trade dispute, targeting America's most advanced sectors, semiconductors, aerospace, and green technologies, where these minerals are irreplaceable. China's decades-long dominance in mining and processing is now a tool of foreign policy, wielded with precision to maximize leverage on the world stage. The impact has been immediate and severe. American companies are scrambling as supply slows to a trickle, production lines stall, and costs skyrocket. This is no longer just a procurement problem, it's a national security crisis, with ripple effects reaching the highest levels of government and defense. The era of assuming global markets would always provide is over. The world is waking up to the fragility of interconnected supply chains and the risks of over-reliance on a single source. The mineral squeeze has exposed a deep vulnerability, forcing a reckoning with the true cost of decades of offshoring and the illusion of endless abundance. America must now confront the true price of its dependence and decide how to secure its future in a world where resources are power. The crisis is real. America's military strength depends on a hidden network of minerals, many of which are sourced and refined far from home. These minerals are the backbone of our most advanced defense technologies, yet their supply chains are increasingly fragile. Specific minerals are vital to U.S. defense, and each plays a unique role in keeping our armed forces at the cutting edge. From the lab to the battlefield, their importance cannot be overstated. Take gallium, for example. This rare metal is crucial for advanced semiconductors used in radar systems and secure communications. Without gallium, the sophisticated electronics that power our defense networks would be impossible to build. Without it, our technological edge in air and space is at risk. Gallium-based components are what allow fighter jets and satellites to detect threats and communicate securely, even in hostile environments. Germanium is another unsung hero. Essential for night vision and thermal imaging, it gives soldiers the ability to own the night. On the modern battlefield, seeing in the dark can mean the difference between mission success and failure. But inventories are running low, threatening production of critical equipment. As global demand rises and supply chains tighten, the risk of shortages grows more severe. Antimony, for instance, hardens ammunition and acts as a fire retardant in military gear. Recent shipments have been delayed or tampered with, raising concerns about reliability and safety for our troops. Rare earth elements are indispensable for powerful magnets in jets, drones, and smart weapons. These elements are the silent force behind precision-guided munitions and advanced propulsion systems. The F-35 alone uses nearly half a ton of rare earths, highlighting just how dependent our most advanced aircraft are on these materials. With China refining over 90% of the world's supply, any disruption threatens America's most advanced weapons. A single bottleneck overseas could halt production lines and ground critical systems. The Pentagon is sounding the alarm. These minerals are not replaceable. There are no easy substitutes, and rebuilding supply chains would take years, if not decades. The stakes for national security have never been higher. Ensuring a steady, secure supply of these minerals is now a top priority for America's defense, and for the safety of every soldier who relies on them. America's dependence on China for critical minerals is the result of decades of strategic choices. China dominates every stage, from mining to refining to manufacturing high-performance components. The U.S. has one rare earth mine, but it must send its ore to China for processing. This creates a profound strategic risk. Our defense supply chain is controlled by a rival. New Chinese licensing rules demand detailed information, giving Beijing insight into U.S. defense manufacturing. Warnings about this dependency were ignored for years. Now, the risk is undeniable. The Pentagon's mandate to stop using China-linked magnets by 2027 is a monumental challenge. Building a secure domestic supply chain will take years, leaving the U.S. exposed in the meantime. China's export curbs are causing real disruptions for U.S. defense companies. Lockheed Martin, Boeing, and others face delays and soaring costs, threatening production of critical defense programs. Some drone components are delayed by months. Prices for minerals like samarium have skyrocketed. These costs and delays slow delivery of vital equipment to troops. The F-35, missile systems, and drones are all at risk. Military readiness depends on a steady flow of parts. Now, that's in jeopardy. Many firms are down to weeks of safety stock, unable to build reserves. A strike at Boeing has added to the chaos, compounding the mineral shortage. Lockheed's CEO warns that alternative supplies can't be developed fast enough. What starts as a trade policy in Beijing ends as a readiness problem at a U.S. base. The ripple effect is clear. America's defense is on the line. The U.S. government is finally acting, launching a multi-pronged effort to rebuild its critical mineral supply chain. The Pentagon has pledged over $400 million to boost domestic mining and magnet manufacturing. MP Materials, owner of the Mountain Pass mine, is receiving major investment to process rare earths on U.S. soil. The strategy includes funding projects in allied nations like Canada to diversify supply. This friend-shoring approach aims to build a resilient network of trusted suppliers. Experts warn that the 2027 goal is ambitious. Building new mines and refineries takes years. Environmental reviews, permitting, and workforce development add to the challenge. Realistically, full independence could take a decade or more. The Pentagon's scramble is just the beginning of a long, urgent journey. America can't solve this alone. Alliances are key. The US is partnering with mineral-rich nations like Australia, Canada, and Brazil to diversify supply. The Critical Minerals Forum helps fund new mining projects in allied countries. Recycling is gaining traction. Extracting rare earths from discarded electronics could reduce reliance on new mining. Scientists are racing to develop alternatives like iron nitride magnets that don't require rare earths. These breakthroughs are years away, but they're vital for long-term security. America's future depends on innovation, partnerships, and smarter resource use. The crisis isn't just about defense, it's hitting the entire economy. Automakers like GM, Toyota, and Tesla warn that mineral shortages threaten production of EVs and advanced vehicles. The electric vehicle transition is at risk, as rare earth magnets are essential for motors. A slowdown in US production could give Chinese EV makers a major edge. Wind turbines, fiber optic cables, and consumer electronics all depend on these minerals. Shortages mean higher prices, fewer choices, and slower innovation for Americans. Diplomats are scrambling for a solution, but the era of easy access to raw materials is over. The world must rethink supply chains in the face of geopolitical competition. The critical minerals crisis is a wake-up call for America. It's exposed a vulnerability at the heart of our security and prosperity. China's actions show how control over resources can be weaponized in global competition. Fixing this isn't about quick fixes, it's a long-term commitment to rebuilding industrial strength. Success will require alliances, investment in recycling and new materials, and honest conversations about trade-offs. Securing our mineral supply is about securing our future, military, economic, and technological. America must never again be dependent on a rival for its most essential resources. The path is tough, but it's the only way to ensure America's strength and independence for generations to come.